Okay, everybody, I'm back, and this will be the second part of our class session. As you remember, this course, Business Problem Analysis, meets once a week on Thursday evenings, and as we did last night, we go about an hour and a half, and then I add another hour or hour and a half of a upload, so that you have the full 3 hours or approximately thereof. Technically, it's 150 minutes, 3 50-minute sessions with 10-minute breaks, so whatever. But we get the time in, and last night we did work on case number 6. We did a quick review of case spreadsheet case number 5, okay, which was the city of Clintwood, and we talked about it, kind of reviewed it, and reviewed where we were in the course, what was due, and that, you know, we're working ahead and all that. And then we took a look at case number 6. That was Badger Jams, and that's where we did the break-even analysis, and that file is there for you to upload. So you say, okay, well, where do we go from here today? And I'll open this back up, and again, to remind you, there are some resources that I had. Here's some information about the golden ratio, and then an article, a short history of accounting ratios, and I would encourage you to take that, as well as this is a link to big charts, and we'll take a look at it real quickly. And it basically lets you build a chart using data from different on companies using financial market coverage, search technology, and you can build a chart from that. So this is something you may want to take and play with a little bit, just to kind of get acclimated to seeing this. But it's a nice little tool. And again, one of those things that we use to enable us to depict data graphically. And you'll recall from our session last night that you recall from our session last night that we had in that Badger Jams, we had the documentation, and then we had all those assumptions, okay, that were based on the total cost equation, and then we had the input and the results section there, those table, and then we had a nice line graph to the right of it that showed us the break-even point, depicted that graphically. Okay. Well, we're going to move into case number 7 today, and case number 7, and you should have your Solve It textbook open as we go through this. We're going to work on spreadsheet case number 7, okay? And that deals with a company called Hardware Nuts, okay? And they give us some background about the company and how they work, blah, blah, blah. And then over on page 68, they start to get into the word problem piece of this. And the authors show you the EOQ, the economic order quantity formula, okay? And then they come down and they give us some information about the fixed cost of ordering, and the carrying cost of ordering, and so forth. And so they want us to create that table. Now, I'm going to do something a little different than I typically would do. We'll go over to the files section, okay? And we'll scroll down here. All right? And we're going to do a little bit of work with this. And I'm going to find the Solve It student files. I'm going to download that to my desktop. Okay. And when I do, I look in here, I'm going to find this spreadsheet case is Hardware Nuts. There you go. And I'm just going to diminish this for just a second. Close this off. Close it down. And I'm going to take hardware nuts. And I'm going to throw it on my desktop. Okay. And I'm going to work on it. And let me see if I can find it. Here it is. There's Cardinal Buddy. Now, let's look at this because this is what we call the skeleton file. Okay. And here's the document. Here's the title documentation area. All right. And then we have a table of data that shows us the product name, the package description, what we have on hand, what we've ordered, okay, the unit cost, the annual usage, and the order point, okay. Now, what they want us to do is, and they give us this, is above the table of data, insert rows to hold assumptions for carrying costs and order costs, okay. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to put in assumptions. And we don't need to say that. I'm going to insert a row, insert another row, and yet another. So I inserted 3 rows here. And then I'm going to put let's say I want to put the 4 tasks above the table data, insert rows, so the assumptions for carrying costs and order costs. So we're going to start with carrying costs. Okay, and as they noted in the textbook, the carrying cost is 25% of the inventory value for all items in the problem. So it's going to be 0.25. We could make that 25%. But well, we need to make it or we'll end up with 2,500. So it'll be 0.25. And then we can, and then we'll click out of it, and we'll click up here, and we'll express it as a percent. Okay, the carrying costs, and then we have the ordering cost is $115. And we'll put that in as currency. Okay. And the carrying cost is, we need to, let's see, carrying costs. Of the inventory, of the unit cost for an item. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this cell, and I'm going to wrap the text, and then I'm going to go ahead and bold that up, and I'm bold up the ordering cost. This measures that. So we've got these so far, and we can go ahead and make them bold. So we have the carrying cost, the unit cost, carrying cost, and we'll do this. We'll leave it there. And then we've got the ordering costs, and that's $115. And for carrying costs and order costs, so this, and I'm on task number 1, okay, over in the over in the bottom of page 68, and now I'm on top of page 69. Now, the if I look at the reordering, the reorder, they have an order point here, okay, and these have been determined and been given to us. So now we add the following columns to the, and this is task number 2. You add the following columns to the worksheet. Okay, we're going to do a balance available. Okay, and I'm going to click on order point, click copy, format order, format point painter, boom, and balance available. And then they also want order quantity. So they want the balance available, and then the order quantity. And I'll smudge out, bring that out just a smudge. You notice it went ahead and formatted it. So I've got the 2 columns that they add. This is over on page 69. Number 2, A, with the balance available column, and then B, the order quantity. All right. Now let's get the balance available. Okay, and they're going to tell us that the balance available, okay, is, and this is on page 69, and you're in the Solve It book. Balance available can be calculated by adding balance on hand plus balance on order. Okay, so I'm going to put equal. Okay, and then I'm going to put the balance on hand plus the amount on order, and I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of the C and a dollar sign in front of the D. And so the balance, by adding the balance on hand plus balance on order. Now you notice we haven't used the name manager for a very simple reason. We really just can't, okay? Because we'd have to create a name for every one of these. So click here, and so the balance available is 9,075, and then I'm just going to scroll on down here, drag and drop it. And you'll notice because I use the cell referencing properly, I made the column and the D. I put a dollar sign in front of them and said, okay, we're just going to go down the rows, and you can see as I go through the formula bar. And so we've got the balance available. Now the order quantity is a little bit different, okay? The order, this is calculate the economic order quantity, okay? This is going to be a little bit different. Now they show you the EOQ there, all right, in the formula for EOQ over on page 68, and it's the square root of 2 times the fixed cost times the amount of the product needed each year, and then that's divided by the item's carrying cost expressed as percentage of inventory value and the item's unit cost. Okay, so we need to compute that. All right, and so we're going to develop the EOQ. All right, and that order quantity, and again, this is part B, and they want to put a 0 in the column if it's not needed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and here we're going to go, and I'm going to go over here to the I'm going to start with I'm going to do an equal if. Okay, and then the balance available, and that would be, that's going to be cell H14. I'll put a dollar sign here, H14. Okay, is less than. Okay, and the order point is going to be G14. I'll put a dollar sign, G14. And then I will put if H14, that is what's available, is less than G14. Okay, and that's the order point. Then I'll put in parentheses place order. Well, I'm using the wrong one here. Here we go. Let me start this over. I apologize. Equal if, okay, and that's going to be the balance available will be H14. Okay, if okay, it's going to be equal if H14, okay, is less than dollar sign G14. Okay. Then we have square root. We're going to apply that to 2 times, and that would be times the fixed cost of ordering, which is going to be a cell D9, as I've got it here. And I want that, it'll be 2 times, and that's going to be D9, which will be the ordering cost. It'll probably be the 2 times the fixed cost of ordering. Now let me go over here for a minute. Shut it down. Let's just. Okay. And I'll wrap that text as well. So let's go back to our EOQ. Okay. And this is equal if H14, which is the balance available. Okay. And notice I put the dollar sign in front of the H, is less than G14. That's the order point. And I put the dollar sign in front of the G, in front of the G. And then I have square root, and that's a parenthesis 2 times, and then another parenthesis. This is the fixed cost of ordering, okay? And this will be times, and they want the annual usage, so this is going to be F14. This will be dollar sign F14. And that's the annual usage. We didn't use the name manager here for a pretty simple reason. We've got all these multiple data that we're working with. And then we have the 2 times the fixed cost, the square root of 2 times the fixed cost, which is D9, fixed cost of ordering, times the annual usage, which is, it's not F, yeah, it is, it's F14. Okay. And that's going to be over the carrying cost, and that's going to be D9 and we make that a fully absolute cell reference, and that'll be times the unit costs, and that would be E14. We'll have a dollar sign E and a 14, okay? Because that's the unit cost, and then we're going to have two parentheses, I believe, comma, and then 0 is a default, and one more. I think this will do it. Let's see what happens. May have made an error, but we'll see what we do. If we did, right, what we're doing. And oh, let's see, the carriage belts, order quantity. Oh, let's see what we've got here. So we've got the balance. So if the balance available, okay, and that's H14, is less than G14, which is the annual usage, less the order point. Okay, so I've got an error there, H14 less G14. Okay, if H14, the balance available, okay, is less than G14, which is the order point, okay, and that order point is G14, then we take the square root, okay, and 2 times the fixed cost of ordering, which is D9, times F14, which is the annual usage, okay, and that's divided by D9, which is D9, that's the fixed cost of ordering. Oh, it's the carrying cost. Here's where I messed this up. So we're just going to skip that. I messed it up. It should be D9 annual. Carrying cost times the fixed cost times the annual usage. So the fixed cost is D9, the annual usage is there at 14. You can see it's kind of sketchy. And that's divided by the carrying cost, okay, which is, that's divided by the carrying cost, which is D8. Should be D8 times E14, which is the unit cost. Let's see if that gives us what we should do. I think that's where we might have messed up. I'll take this, I'll copy it, let's paste it in and see how many we need to order. Oh. And we're good there. Now I'm going to round this. I'll get rid of the zeros. I'm going to just convert that to a number. And then I'm going to decrease the decimal. Okay? Now, I want to talk about this for a minute. All right? Let's talk about this for just a couple of minutes or so. Let me diminish this down. We can see what we're working with. Let's talk about this now. Okay? I'll scroll that in a little bit more. Equal if, okay, it says we're doing a conditional statement. Here we're going to use some Boolean logic. If H14, okay, and if you look on here, you're going to see cell H14, that's the balance available. If it's less than G14, 14, and that's the order point. Okay, and notice on H14 and G14, I used conditional. I used a dollar sign in front of the column. If that's true, then we take the square root of, and there's this SQRT, and that's the square root function of 2 times, okay, and then you have another parenthesis, D9, that's the fixed cost of ordering, you'll see that, times F14, and F14 is the F14 is the annual usage, okay, and that's divided by the carrying cost, okay, and that's D8 times E14, okay, which is the unit cost, and it gives you that data. If that first statement is not true, that H14 is in other words, if H14 is equal to or greater than G14, it's going to give you a default value of a 0. And if we did our cell referencing, we should be okay. Let's do that. Click here. Hopefully this will all go. Now let's go ahead, and I'm going to make this a little bit prettier to look at and easier to look at, and I'm going to make them all Arial 12s. And I'm going to go over here and click here, copy, format painter. Okay. And that way we know there's nothing to be ordered there. Now, let's think about this for a minute, and let's just take a look at the logic. Is H14 less than G14? Yeah. So we need to order. This is using the EOQ. Okay. And then, then it tells us how many we need to order. And you could just see what we need to order, okay? Now, they're on page 3, okay? They develop identifying any stock items that need reordering on the worksheet, okay? One is to add a column containing a formula to print asterisk, and it says, you know, place order, okay? Well, I think, okay, do we need to order? Yes. But we'll go ahead and we'll do a column here. And we're going to create this. This will be, and I'm just going to do it over here in the pad. Okay, this is going to be my second conditional statement. Equal if, and this is going to be, I'm going to start again. It's going to be H14. Okay, is less than, and the order point is G14. Okay. Then we'll have some verbiage. It says place order. And then we'll put a blank as a default. And I think that'll do it for us. And let's see what that does. I'm going to pop it in here. and just say, yep, gives us place order. And now if we did the cell referencing properly, we'll just drag and drop this jewel on down. And anywhere it says there, and we'll click here, copy, format painter, and we'll at least get the font and everything that we want. There we go. Now we can pretty this up a little bit. I'm going to come over here to cell 814 and put some borders in it. Okay. Now this up top, I'll go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of fill. I'm making it look pretty. Actually, I'm moving the reader's eye along, and I'm going to come below here. Same border. And I think probably what I'll do here is I think what I'll do right here is go ahead and highlight those cells, and I'm going to click a right border. It's going to let me. Let's try the outside border. Oh. 0, and let's go here. Now, we know those items for which we should place an order and those which we should not. Now, this is case number 7, all right? Now, there's a tutorial on for spreadsheet case 7 on page 69, which I think is a good thing for you to take a look at because it talks about the logical conditions and developing conditional statements. And I really think page 69 at the bottom, page 70 and 71 and 72 would be good. Let's review this real quickly in terms of what we've done. Okay. Now, first thing we did was we had to create do some assumptions, and one of them is we're using the economic order quantity. All right, and there on page 68 they show you the economic order quantity, and that is the EOQ equals the square root of 2 times the fixed cost of ordering the item, that's the F in the equation above, times the amount of product needed each year, okay? And that's divided by the item's carrying costs expressed as a percentage of inventory value, okay? And P is the unit cost. So let's look at this order quantity. In fact, let's just rename this economic order quantity so we know basically what we're dealing with. Okay, let's look at that. Click on it, it's going to go hot, okay? And I'm going to try to move a little bit closer up. I may not be able to. It's not letting me scroll up some. Okay, well, whatever. Now, here we have, and you can look in the formula bar, equal if, okay, H14, and that's the balance available, is less than the order point, and that's G14. That's the green. And notice on each of these, since we're going to be coming down the rows, we use a $ sign in front of the column. If that condition is met, if H14 is less than G14, comma, Then we do the following then we do the following. We take the square root of, that's what the SQRT is, that's the square root function of, and then a parenthesis 2 times, and then a parenthesis D9, and notice I made D9 an absolute cell reference there, and that's the fixed cost of ordering, okay, times F14. And F14 is the annual usage, and I put that, the F14, I put that in, I put a dollar sign in front of the F, because that's going to need to be coming down, and that is divided by D8, which is the carrying cost times E14, and E14 is the unit cost, okay? And then we close off the parentheses. We put in 2 parentheses there to balance them, and then we put a comma and 0, which would be if that condition is not met, then we don't do the EOQ. We just put in 0, and then we put in a 3rd parenthesis to balance it all off. All right. And we get how much we're supposed to order. Then we have the question, okay, do we reorder? All right. Well, and one thing to note here, since I used this, the same, I used the format painter, I've got these dashes instead of zeros. And then we went ahead and we did this business over in column J. Do we want to reorder? Well, we use another conditional statement, and it's equal if H14 and I'll just click on it. If H14 is less than G14, H14 is the balance available, G14 is the order point, okay? And notice we have a dollar sign in front of H and in front of G because we're going to stay in those columns, but go down the rows. And if that condition is met, if the balance available is less than the order point, then we have a text message. We have a message, place order, and then we have comma over here. And if that condition doesn't hold true, then there's no need to order, and we just have a blank. Now, what we could do instead of using just a blank, we could put order not needed. No need to order. It just junks it up. But we could make it like this instead of place order. We could do this. But yes, comma, and then put no. Boom. It says place order. Now we'll drag and drop it all the way down here. Okay. Now, but this is easy because I can see what's no. I'm going to make this easier. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the middle, and then I'm going to use conditional formatting because I might have 500 of these. And I know what you're going to say is you can't do a single one of these without using conditional formatting, can you? And I'm going to put a highlight cell rules and text that contains yes will be light red with a dark fill. So when I see that, I know I need to order. And in fact, if I wanted to really do this nicely, I could go ahead and throw these two columns over here as well. All right, and that would just balance it off, so you'd know what to order and so on. But we're not going to do that, okay? But we've basically done hardware nuts. This is case 7, okay? And I have a key over there, and you have this to take a look at, and we can go, what I will do is you'll be able to look at this video, okay, to see how I did this. Okay, this is hardware nuts, which is case 7, and then you can just simply upload it. Okay, or you can upload. You can do it. You can see how it's done. Then you'll have a file in there to work through. I'm going to go ahead and I think what I'll go ahead and do is just save this thing. Okay, so I'm going to click Save As, and I'm going to put it up here in the desktop. And I'm going to call this XLSX7 hardware nuts done September 8th, 2017. Okay, and I'm going to name it that. And I'll close it off. But before I do that, notice we created the assumptions based on the problem. We built the table. And if I want to make this look nice, I'm going to do one final thing and then resave it. And that frame, you see how that frames that out so much better. That's much nicer. So I'm going to save that. Okay. And now I've got it saved. Now I have what I want. All right. So I'm going to close this off. And then I'm going to upload it over in the files area. Got the files over here uploaded already. And I'm going to find XLS7 hardware nuts done. There it is. Open it up. And we'll look for it. Let's search for it. And there it is, XLS7 hardware nuts done, September 8th, 2017. I think this is September 8th, isn't it? Yes, it is. So when we have class next, you can look at this, okay? And I'll just quickly, here's what to upload, and we'll talk about that. And that pretty much does it for the second part of your class, okay? And you can find this over in the files, and I would use it to upload for XLS7. And in this case, we did a little bit of conditional formatting, so not a big deal. All right. Well, folks, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you next Thursday night. Now, don't forget Tuesday. I'll be doing Tuesday's a virtual day. No, you guys you meet through the evening. So I'm just doing it. I'm doing the other part 2 of your class. Okay, forget about that. So you'll be I'll see you next Thursday. Okay, and you have a good one. Take care. and stay safe. So I'm going to stop the share now, and then I will stop the recording and end the meeting.